Welcome back. This is our second tutorials in our series, and as said in the previous series, this round we're going to tackle PHP PDO using prepared statements. You realize when we're dealing with SQL, there is direct execution, and there is, I hope that is the right spelling to it, and there is prepared statement. Direct execution is where, like what you did in the previous tutorial, like you give it with the full parameters and it just execute directly. With prepared statement, you prepared with unknown values, then later on you pass the exact parameters to it at a later on. You realize with prepared statement they are a bit more secure than direct execution. Things like the SQL injections, those injection scripts, people that make some hackers can have access to information from the database. And with prepared statements, you write the statements are written prior the execution, so you call them and then you just pass the parameter of the data you need and you get it. So these prepared statements are the ones that are always used in creating API. As I mentioned earlier, in this series we're going to even know how we can write API. So prepared statements are very, very important thing, and we're going to tackle one of it. As usual, I've already done a code prior. What we're going to do is go through the code. We all know how to connect the database, so this is basically the parameters being passed: the server name, username, password, DB, same DB. So again, you're going to try in case there is error in connection or anything, you're going to get the error reporting the message, right? So we're going to use com. This is connecting to the database. We've already covered there. All of it we covered it in the previous section. So here we're going to concentrate from here. This is a prepare SQL and bind. Not there is a prepared SQL and then you bind parameters to it. So we're going to do two things at once. So we declare variable statement as usual, com prepare. Note for direct here we use query, but when you're using prepared statement we use prepare. This will tell it that we will not pass everything to it. So prepare, and then you pass the query, which is insert into users a table, name, username. These are the values that are in the database table headers, and the values is first name, last name, and age. Note, these are just name. Remember, my database has name, but here we call it first name, and username you call it last name. You see, I did that purposely to show you that this is just placeholders in age for age. Okay, we want to bind these to the exact values which user will be putting here, or it will be fetching or getting from somewhere else. It's prepare, no direct execution. So statement bind param. There are two ways. You can bind value or you can bind param. I will suggest to dig much on them and find the difference when to use value or when to use parameter. And when to use values when you already have the value you need. When you're using parameter, it can be have parameters wider. Do research on that. So bind param, you give the exact way you typed it here, first name, but you quote it. Then you bind it with a variable first name, which we're going to call it. So you're binding, data binding, yeah. Statement bind param, last name, and even the email. Remember, yeah, just call it email, and you're binding it to age. So whatever you're going to pass it, will determine what will be stored there. So this is what data we are going to pass. You see, it's going to insert to the table. Remember, this is insert. This one you're not using select, using, you can also use select, but this one we're going to use insert. So insert a row. The first name, we're going to give it a parameter try, last name Jones, email, which is age 77. When you're using prepared, when you want it to show now, you execute, and this is how you do it. Statement dot execute. You call function called execute, and it does execute. So this is one row. We're going to add this data to the database. Our database has 3 columns, actually 4, including the ID part. ID, name, username, and age. ID is just an auto increase for counting, so we're not interested with it. So we have name, username, and age. So this will be for name, username, and this for age. That's the first row. Then you add another row, another, and another one. So that's the easiest way of using prepare. So as you can see, if we recap the exception part, also this is just, as I said in the last tutorial, that this will just echo in case there is error anywhere. It will help you to dictate where error it is. So if we run this code in our browser, it is localhost web programming. No, it's programming, not PDO. Sorry about that. Programming and prepared.php. New record created successful, so there was no error. If you can remember our database, this is our database before we execute this. Before we execute this one, before we add these and these, you see, there's nothing like this region, schemator, or anything, right? See, in our database there's nothing like that. There is nothing like all of this. So this is before we add. Now since we have added here, let's refresh our database and see if truly it has come. And bang, here they are. Start with the triagents. Have came talking to Lola. Our database is adding. So what we have done here is it looks easy, but when it comes to creating a real API, this one you have to decode. So I'll advise you, just go find any PDO tutorial, get some basics on prepared statement, direct execution, and there are some key terms like prepare function, execute. There's sometimes when you have to use exec, not execute, especially when it's not returning anything. You use exec and pass the parameter to it. And there is this binding, there's binding param, binding value. Try to go and get that. So that wasn't easy. As I said, this code, I'm going to put it in my GitHub account where you're going to get them. I'll name them according to the way I've named it here, and it's going to guide you on how to creating APIs. So thank you so much for watching the tutorial. See you in the next tutorial, where we are going now to use JSON in our code. See you next time.